on, guys? Hey, it's Anthony here at the Breakout Daily. Thank you guys for tuning in. Guys, today we have a fun subject to talk about. This came up throughout the weekend while I was in some Whatnot auctions, while I hosted a Whatnot auction, and I've seen this comment on IG. I've been asked about it several times over, and I want to address a small piece of this. This is a very large subject to talk about, and I thought that I would throw my 2 cents in, and that is, I am new to comics. What direction should I go? Now, it's a fun topic to talk about. Obviously, there's going to be biases. There's going to be experience. There's going to be lack of experience when one tries to answer this question. And one of the main reasons I am bringing this up, though, is I did see that get brought up several times during auction settings while people were buying books, asking questions, to include one of my own Whatnot sales that I was doing at Breakout Daily. Now, before I dive into this, guys, it should be a fun topic. I've got some funny books I'm going to share with you and the reasons I picked those up. But guys, make sure hit the subscribe button down below here on YouTube. Check us out on Instagram at Break_Out_Daily, on the Whatnot app at Breakout Daily, and we also have stuff on Facebook. So make sure follow us on those sites. If you guys are interested in buying comic books, myself and many others sell on the Whatnot app. We have a link down below that could give you 10 free bucks if you have not ordered anything off of the app. That goes for any seller. If you want to buy it for me, great. If not, get your 10 free bucks, go buy something else somewhere else, and it's a great deal. So back to the topic. This question came up several times, and then from that question, there's others that ask a ton of other questions, which I absolutely, guys, love the questions. I get questions in my DM on IG, get them sometimes in the YouTube videos down below. Feel free to ask questions here on YouTube. Drop a comment. Feel free to get a hold of us over on IG. Those are normally the two best places to ask these questions. So we're in these auctions, and there's several people at different occasions, different auctions that bring up, hey, I'm not sure about grade. Hey, I'm not sure about this book. I'm new. Can you help me? And my short answer to this, in which is going to be the bulk of this show today, I will and want to do extended versions, trying to answer probably the more complicated questions the best that I can. That's going to be kind of the focal point. So everybody has an opinion. Let me say that up front. Everybody has an opinion on what's right, what's wrong, what they believe they should do, what you shouldn't do. So to make and be as transparent as I can, a lot of the questions that I saw from people that were inquiring were very, very basic questions, asking about characters, asking about comic books that coincide with the characters, asking about runs, grades, how to get stuff graded, where to get it graded, and everything in between. So without, again, making this a super long video of me trying to over-explain certain facets of it, what I would say is this. If you are new to the hobby, welcome to the hobby. That is it. Collecting comic books and many other collectibles is a highly enjoyable thing to participate in with an incredible community of people. There are a ton of resources out there. I cannot stress this to you if you're a new collector or a hobbyist or whatever you want to call yourself, to educate yourself. You have to educate yourself up front. Now, you can fall into many different categories depending on what your goals and what you're actively doing in the hobby. And I bring that up because I know several people that get caught in FOMO, that get caught in this funny situation to where they're just going off of what a host says or what a YouTube personality says. And to me, have your own thoughts and opinions. Now, is there resources on YouTube? Yes, There are excellent resources on YouTube. I utilize them regularly. I watch guys like Comic Tom 101, Gem Mint Collectibles, Pressable Defects, Spine Ticks, Very Gary Comics, Bry's Comics, Journo's Comics. I'm sure there's 10 other Buellers on occasion. There's 10, 20 other guys that I watch regularly on YouTube, or at least when I can, to get some new content. Tales from the Flip Side, and the list goes on and on, right? Now, taking their information and making it reality is two completely different things. You have to remember, most of these people, what they're talking about is relevant to their perspectives and what they're doing with their channel or what they're doing with their own collections, which may not be relevant to you. Reggie Collects has a ton of great content, but does it make it 100% relevant to you? I would say no. And you need to make some decisions on your own. One being, what are you trying to do? If you're an avid reader, fantastic. Comic books is an incredible hobby for an avid reader. If you want to read and collect certain runs of certain characters, of certain stories of this author or writer versus this guy, this character versus that guy, and that is your sole purpose, is just to read the stories and collect the stories that you like, or maybe it's a character that you like, or maybe it's a assortment of different things that are in alignment, whether it's an artist, a writer, a character, a storyline, so forth and so on. You've got so many incredible outlets to be able to sit down and kind of peek into that world or chase after that. And with that also comes the decisions of collectible and how much money you want to spend and a lot of different things. But making that decision up front is something that I would say will help you in the future. Because while you may not think too much about it, hey, I go to the comic shop, I spend $20 a week or $20 a month, and I got this box of comics. Well, okay. Are you reading those comics? You're saving those? Maybe you're reading them with your kid. Maybe you're saving them, trying to make money and flip them. Whatever it is you're trying to do, know this, that again, you have resources, the online content from YouTubers. You've also got resources such as understanding value, which is very, very important. It doesn't matter if you're a flipper, a collector, a reader, what have you. You need to understand the fair market value for that book. Now that changes, like the stock market changes, at a very rapid pace. And you have to be careful with that, because you can very easily overpay for a comic book or underpay, depending on what scenario and what's happening at that time, if you're not educated in that world. And now there are tons of resources for that. Like I said, with all of the YouTube personalities and shows and all of that, there's almost as many resources for you to look up, value, understand kind of what's going on. eBay is one of the most used benchmarks for valued comics, because you can go on eBay, choose sold, and then look at what did Beavis and Butthead #1 sell for recently in a raw condition. Now, you need to understand that, because there's also cover price, GPA. There's a ton of other resources available for you to understand that. But again, it depends on what you're doing with this hobby. Maybe price and value doesn't matter as much as I want to read and own all of the Beavis and Butthead books, period. And that's your initiative. That's where you want to go. There's nothing wrong with that. In fact, that's probably a highly enjoyable way to collect. That's not my personal preference. I'm putting together different runs of books for different reasons, whether it's I'm putting together shows for whatnot, and I want to pull in certain types of books to a certain show to try to bring you guys an assortment of things. That may be the reason why I'm doing it. Or I'm buying books like the Sandman run, where I'm trying to build that collection out for all of the modern keys, the best that I can, integrated, because I want that in my PC. Which leads me to another valuable point, and that is, you now know that you have a lot of free resources as far as personalities and ideas and movies and content on the internet. You also now know that there are tools and places for you to be able to check the value of these books. The next and one of the most important things is where you buy your books from. Now, an easy way to do that is if you have a local comic shop, go in there, talk to the guys behind the counter, talk to the folks that work there, ask them questions, look around, and more than likely you're going to find a nice guy or gal that's there to support you and help you with any and all of your needs that you have or maybe want. In addition to that, they may be doing a pull box, which could very easily help you order comics that are coming. They can explain that to you, whatever software they're using or internet site that they're using to help accomplish that, or maybe it's a piece of paper. They can go over that with you and make life buying comics, especially ones that are coming out, a lot easier. Now, the flip side is if you want older comics, or maybe you don't have an LCS in your area, maybe you don't have one within reason, or maybe you don't have a good relationship with your LCS. Well, then you have to go online and you have to look at alternatives. That's where stuff can get a little bit more complicated. However, because of this day and age, there is a ton of people that you can find, whether it's on Whatnot, jump over to their IG, you can ask them questions. If they're on PopShop, if they're on eBay, if they're at midtowncomics.com, if they're at millgeekcomics.com, you can find resources to ask the questions that you need to ask. But I can't stress it enough that you need to have a supplier of comics that you're comfortable with, that is honest with you on grading, on pricing, and everything in between, because you don't want to be overpaying, or you don't want to get junk comics from a supplier, whether it's an online provider or an LCS, that is taking advantage of you, especially when you're new in the hobby. And a lot of, again, do your research, do your due diligence. This is an incredible hobby. I love to see how much it's grown and how much it's going to continue to grow over the next several years, hopefully for decades and decades to come. And it does take a little bit of work to get yourself in a situation to where you understand what it is you're doing. Again, regardless if you're a reader or if you're a collector, a flipper, and what have you. And yes, there are differences. Yes, there are specifics. And yes, we will go into a lot of those details in future videos. Guys, I just wanted to talk real briefly through some of this. The grade of comic, of course, also makes a very large difference for the price you pay, and again, what you're trying to accomplish. So some things to consider if you're new to the hobby is trying to understand what it is you're trying to accomplish. Utilize the resources that are available to you free on Instagram, on YouTube, and anywhere else you may be able to talk or educate yourself, whether it's a YouTube video or even if you're in one of those auctions. A lot of guys in Whatnot auctions or what have you, IG live sales, they're more than happy to answer questions if you have them. But if you're going to go into long form, the best place is to find somebody that you're comfortable with, that you enjoy watching, and start asking questions. Of course, getting a reputable seller is very important, somebody that you can rely on, get quality books from, and that can help kind of guide you in a direction that you're looking to go as well. Now, again, grade and your budget make a big difference on the direction you're wanting to go, but you're going to get and understand that a lot more the more that you're kind of in the hobby, or if you've got a friend or a relative that can really help you understand where and what it is you're doing. I would not recommend, if you're brand new to the hobby, to start pumping thousands of dollars into unknown books at unknown prices just because they're in slabs or your buddy tells you about them without educating yourself first, guys. Anyways, I used Beavis and Butthead as an example earlier, so I will be putting together kind of a movie sale here in the near future. It's a little ways out on Whatnot. I thought it would be a fun thing to do. Napoleon Dynamite, Beavis and Butthead. I've got Roger Rabbit, movies and video games. I just picked up Turok #1. I've got some Alien versus Predator stuff. And so that's one of many different things that you could be doing as well. But in my case, I'm doing it for a very specific reason. I have a PC, and that's another large portion of the hobby is, do you have kind of your PC, your personal collection, and then you have books that you pick up and that you want to trade or sell to enhance that PC. And we're going to go into that in later videos as well, guys. Anyways, I just wanted to put together this beginner, kind of a real brief beginner video. Now that I'm looking at the time, I think I've been rambling on for 15 minutes. None of this was groundbreaking stuff, but I felt like after seeing, I think I must have seen 5 to 7 comments come through this last week. And while I was selling books, and while others were, and I try to help out while I'm doing a live show if I have the time. But even if I'm a participant in someone else's show as an audience member looking to buy books as well, I try to help as much as I possibly can, because it's important, in my opinion, to continue to strengthen this hobby. And we do this by contributing not only to the hobby, but to each other, so we can have this thing live a very, very long life and a very healthy and fruitful life for all of the people that are collecting, selling, buying, and everywhere else, guys. And I believe it's one of the best collecting communities that's out there. So thank you guys so much for checking out this video on the Breakout Daily. Don't forget, hit subscribe. If you guys got questions, drop them down below. Hit me up on IG at break.daily. We sell books on Whatnot, so check us out there as well. Thank you guys so much for watching. I know this was kind of an offbeat video, but we will be going into details in each one of these sections in future videos, and we've got a ton of other content coming soon. Guys, Moon Knight's out the day that this drops. I'm super excited for that. We got Morbius coming out. Super excited for that as well, and a bunch of other things that are going on, not only in the comic book industry, but in Marvel, DC, and the third party, and Image Comics and Aftershock and all of these other comic books and collectibles that are coming together. It's going to be an incredible year in 2022. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. We'll catch up with you in the next one.